I found the button. It tried to not work, but I wasn't going to not let it.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, man. You're going to fall in line. You're going to bend to my wheel.
iPhone.
For real, man. He did what I was like.
Hopefully everybody's having a good 4th of July weekend.
I hope everyone is having a great 4th of July weekend. I forgot 3 times just as 4th of July. I was at the grocery store the day before, and the lady checking me out was like, man, looking forward to the 4th. And I'm like, if I can remember, it's here because it's Saturday. So everyone looks forward to Saturday. Yeah. And then you remind yourself, oh, yeah, it's like Super Saturday. But seriously, the fireworks down the street started, and I was like, I forgot 3 times.
Well, that's part of the problem. Is like, man, around here, they take the whole week to do stuff every night, whether they're not having the actual official fireworks display. Yeah, between people doing them in their backyard, it's like after a while, it's like, when's the holiday?
It's for real, dude. Seriously, man.
So, anyhow, I'm Jared, by the way. I'm still on my Trulies.
I'm Josh. It is truly fantastic to be here, my brother.
Oh, heck yeah, good brother.
good brother abounds.
Man, one of the things I forgot to bring up, I was going on and on about Joel Schumacher last week, is the news broke about the rumor of Michael Keaton going to be playing Batman again. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It's you know, as I have squawked about so much in personal conversations on this show and for the longest time. And I admit I am somebody that has seen, considering that the Christopher Nolan stuff doesn't count, I am somebody that has seen not the first frame of any of the DC movies. Mm-hmm. It's not their fault. It's just not my thing. But
they got me to go see Batman vs. Superman. That's the last one that I saw in a theater. I think I've seen bits and pieces since they've started running on television. Yeah. But sit down start to finish, I didn't even watch Joker. You know, if you count that. But I haven't seen one of them.
As far as I know, I honestly don't know what counts. I really don't. Yeah. I don't think that Joaquin Phoenix, I do not believe, was brought in to counterpart Ben Affleck. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it's a one-off, and it damn sure plays like one. It's great. I love Joker. I thought it was great. Mm-hmm. But that one I did see, so if it counts, that one I've seen. But my thing with the DC stuff, and we can discuss, we're talking Keaton, but we can also talk about Joaquin. I want the DC movieverse to turn into a Crisis on Infinite Earth situation where you have Keaton and Bale and Affleck if you must. And don't get me wrong, I know people that like
cheese.
Well, I know that people love the Affleck Batman because it looks so cool, and they're right. It does look cool because it was based off Frank Miller's drawing. I mean, that's exactly what that is. It's just Affleck's just such a. I don't hate the guy. I just think it's just I don't know. He's not my guy. And I guess it's just that so many people, because of the voice modulator, you really gonna try and tell me that his Batman is better than Christian Bale's because he's got that fantastic voice? And like, God, get the hell out of here, man. You got to be kidding me. It's still Ben Affleck. For God's sake, it's still Matt's little buddy.
Yeah.
But I would love a DC movie where all the Batman actors are there. And because my main thing was I thought that you could do a fascinating and interesting, if you introduce the concept, if you started off with what's his face that played the Flash, and then the kid from TV that played the Flash, that would be stinking awesome. That would be so cool. You have those two interacting, and then everybody falls in. And I've seen the rumor on this, and it's all like, Ryan Reynolds might get to play Green Lantern again. And I know that you and I could not care less about that. But that's the thing is, as stupid as that movie is, because God knows it's awful, I'll be shocked if you don't agree with me on this. The idea that Mark Strong gets to play Sinestro again is the whole reason that I want this to happen, because he was so good, and I would love for that character to get to be brought back as like the big bad guy in a movie that's actually worth a darn. So the
Mark
notion
Strong has become the DC go-to actor for all their villains. He was the bad guy in Shazam, from what I heard.
Man,
So,
it's
so,
cool.
so they knew they had a good thing when they cast him
Absolutely.
as Sinestro in the first place, and so they're like, "Well, it didn't work out, so we're gonna keep you around to be with us doing something."
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
man.
somebody knows what they're doing over there just by that alone.
I completely agree, man. Because he was in a, my God, an absolute outhouse of a movie. He was fantastic, and with
Yeah,
not much to work with either. It's not like, well, the
yeah.
Sinestro character was written well. It wasn't. It was in that movie. It was crap. It's just that is a guy that he Oliver platted his way
Yeah.
all through that movie.
In
God dang, he
in
was good,
spite of being in this generation's Howard the Duck,
dude. Seriously,
I'm
it was
going to make
great.
something good out of this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I that's it's dumb, but well, I shouldn't say that's my main reason for hoping they'll do Crisis on Infinite Earths as a movie. My other one is just that, look, man, if Warner Brothers, excuse me, insist on continuing making DC movies, they might as well be worth it. Half a darn. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people that love DC, man. Give them
Hmm.
something they can sink their teeth into. Give them some, besides Wonder Woman, because everybody loved that.
I
But
mean, honestly, I when I first heard the rumor and I heard it was happening in the Flash, for some my mind didn't go to the Flash movie because that's been stopped and started so many damn times it's not even funny. I
absolutely,
honestly got thought they seriously gonna have him show up on the TV show because I'm stupid. I thought that, and the TV show had already kind of hinted at doing that and did kind of a crossover with all uh, the DC TV shows are worth checking out.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so that they've already kind of dipped their toe in doing that, and it was predicted on Kevin Smith's podcast that he does with Mark Bernardin, where that when it, it I don't forget exactly how long ago it was. It was at least a year and a half ago, and that they saw that would be an awesome idea. That you could potentially do if you're not going to do uh, Michael Keaton playing the older Batman in a Batman Beyond movie, then have him show up, even if it is just for a scene, just to introduce there are other worlds kind of thing. Because like a lot of people, when he showed up and was the best thing in Spider-Man Homecoming, I was like, well, it's never going to happen now. Now that Bruce Wayne has shown up and been one of the best Marvel villains to me outside of Thanos and Yellow Jacket, then he's never going to play Bruce Wayne again. And turns out he might. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the upsides of, excuse me, comic book movies being like that. That right now, getting a role as a comic book superhero is the top dollar thing across the board for actors in Hollywood. And so that being the case, that union is strong as hell. So
Mm-hmm.
I get Marvel's a big deal, and DC's a big deal, and Disney's a big deal, but they're not going to strong arm anybody and SAG-AFTRA. So if I get offered this job, I'm taking it, and then if I get offered that job, I'm taking it. So it's like I'm happy that wall is gone. I'm very happy about that. Like Brolin, Jonah Hex, and then he turned around and played Thanos, and it's like good,
And
good because
it was
now,
freaking Cable and
yeah, yeah, there
Deadpool.
you go, yeah, totally, man. See, it's like
So
this is good. This totally works.
there's part of me that hates that as just my rules are that you can only be the one character in one universe. But then, as far as actors go and people needing jobs, I'm glad that freaking Chris Evans has been several different characters in the Marvel universe. So
Chris
it's
Evans has played.
it's not as strict as you know it. I would make
Yeah,
it.
Chris Evans played um one of the iconic Avengers because he really did. Obviously, he was. I mean, they're all good, but I mean, Cap was fantastic. But of the two, Cap is second, only as far as like interpretation, because it's hard to pick. Captain America is a very difficult character to pick. Like, this is the cool one. The only time
Yeah.
Captain America's ever been cool was the Ultimates, and then Winter Soldier. And it's, it is what it is. It's okay. They did a great job with the movie, with what they made him, and I thought it was awesome. But his Johnny Storm was bang on note perfect. And those movies suck. Oh my God, those movies are awful.
I've tried to convince myself that they don't, but they're pretty
they do
pretty bad.
They do. And among that rubbish, he is awesome. God, he was so good, man. And the thing is, I'll say it once again for the record, I'm a massive Fantastic Four fan. I absolutely hate the rumors of John Krasinski playing Reed Richards because I don't like John Krasinski. And also, if you cast him to play Reed, I don't think you can possibly make Reed Richards accurate. Because if you make Reed the son of a bitch that he actually is, the Krasinski fangirls will weep. But at the same time, Jim Halpert's a pretty big piece of crap too, and they loved him for that. So maybe you get away with it.
Maybe this is a good casting.
It could be. My whole thing with the whole John Krasinski for Reed Richards, the only reason that mess started is because the rumor of his wife playing Susan is what everyone got up over, and that I would take that idiot getting the Reed Richards role if we could get her to play Sue, because that would work. Because if you're going to cast,
that's Emily Blunt.
It's Emily Blunt, man.
Okay.
And if you're going to cast Emily Blunt to play Susan Storm, like I said, I don't think that you would actually. In most of the best Fantastic Four books, Reed's a piece of crap. Where I'm afraid you wouldn't do that in the movie. In all the best Captain America, in all the best Fantastic Four books, Susan is a huge part. And if you get Emily Blunt to play her, you're taking it seriously, and that would be awesome. So I'm like, dude, it's worth it. It's totally worth it. Let's go. But God, for the love of God, no Doctor Doom, because that's the problem. That's the problem with all of it, is you do not have time to give a Fantastic Four origin story and introduce Doctor Doom. You can't do it. Doctor Doom can carry his own movie. And that's how you bring them together, man. Don't do it first. Take the Mark Waid approach. Mark Waid's Fantastic Four is my favorite. It's amazing. It's awesome. But he did not go to the book and write, oh my God, what the hell was it called? I can't remember the name of that arc. Now, it'll come back to me in a second. But it's his Doctor Doom arc, where Doctor Doom returns to Latveria and basically rescues his mom from death so he can then trade her to the devil for magic. Dr. Doom is supposed to be a man of science. Yeah, he was, and it never worked. So he decided to go all old world magic because
going all dark arts on that ass.
what's Reed gonna do against that? But it wasn't the first story. It was the second story. I think, if I remember correctly, it was the idea that Mark Waid pitched that got him the job, and then he was smart enough to wait. I'm like, oh my God! But that whole series is incredible.
That's like, every time they try to reboot the Ninja Turtles, because I still love them. They always start with Shredder. I'm like, they've got other stuff.
Absolutely.
Give somebody else a chance.
Absolutely.
Every single time they start with that. I'm like, y'all, slow burn that. You could do a movie without even mentioning him.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah. I think it's a good idea. Or go Batman Begins, because they got that one totally right. It's like, this is Batman's origin story. So you have the playing card showed up at the end and everyone gets it. And it's the reason the second one worked so well, because you can make the Joker the key narrative of the second one, because you already did I'm totally with you. I think that's a much better way to go. Your super mythos style bad guy. Freaking Thanos will always be the gold standard now, and they spent years building that story up. But you're totally right, man. If you've got the origin story for your hero, by God, let it be that. And then if you want to introduce the big villain for the second one, cool, because you got time to give them an origin story in the second one. We don't have to talk about the asteroid or Flame On. Yeah. It's just, man, I love it. I think that's cool.
And even if it's just a scene, just the idea of having Keaton show up and play that character again, I was like, I'll believe it when it happens, because when they hired Ezra Miller in the first place to play the Flash, and they weren't doing Grant Gustin from the show, I was like, I lost interest, and it feels like that Flash movie has been start and stop for, it feels like 20 years.
It's DC's Gambit.
Yeah. And for it to be involved in that movie, I was like, well, just let me know when it happens because I'll show it when it does. But who knows? I thought it was interesting news, and I meant to tie it into Joel Schumacher last week, and I forgot all about it. I got to talking about the man.
Yeah, man. But I'm with you. Keaton playing Batman again would be awesome. I'd love it, but that's what I want. If it leads to a Linda playing Wonder Woman and a hologram of Christopher Reeve showing up, and I think that'd be cool. And that's another interesting thing too, by the way, is if you want to have Affleck play Bruce Wayne, it'd be very interesting to have him dress up like Superman too, because he was in that movie that I don't remember which one it was, but when everyone got all crazy about the '50s Hollywood crime movies, he played George Reeves in one of those. So Ben Affleck's walking around in the Superman costume, and I'm like, that would be an awesome throwaway reference. But then I just think that's cool. I think the idea of Mark Strong showing up and playing all the characters that he played, I love that. I think that'd be good. It'd be massive. I mean, I know it would be massive, but I don't think it'd be impossible. I think they make something cool out of that.
Yeah, I'd be down for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm late on a movie review, but it was a good movie nonetheless. So now I want to talk about it now.
Hey, man.
months after the fact.
That's what I do.
And I'm bad to do that. Anytime I get the free trial of HBO on the HBO free trial weekend, I'm like going through seeing what's going to be on and record this and record that, and that's where I got this one. And it kind of sat there for another week or two, and I finally got around to watching Long Shot. Long Shot's the movie that starred Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron.
Oh yeah,
it's dang good. It was directed by Jonathan Devine. And Jonathan Devine and Seth Rogen have done a few movies together now. They did 50-50 and The Night Before, the Christmas movie. So that kind of got a good thing going. Jonathan Devine, I knew the name kind of sounded familiar, but he is directing the sequel to Coming to America.
Okay.
That will be on Netflix. So the guys getting some clout. And as far as the movie goes, it really felt if the best comparison I could make is if She's Out of My League was set and whatever your favorite political movie about a campaign, if they had a baby, then that's this movie. But to hear that, you kind of like that. And when you hear that Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron are in a romantic comedy, I should call it a comedy. It can get sort of it's more comedy than it is dramatic. But when just hearing that, you kind of like that's odd, but they have you buying it, and it's really good. Part of the story is Charlize Theron is playing a character named Charlotte Field. It just sounds like a politician from the get-go. And Seth Rogen is playing a character called Fred Flarsky. It's like, could y'all pick a more Jewish-sounding name? Y'all just trying to make this guy sound funny. But they're friends from childhood. And they play that so well that because the other thing that happens too is I wasn't ready for. Seth Rogen's character is an investigative journalist because and you need to know that going in because the movie opens on a scene where you're kind of like, what in the heck have I got myself into?
Is this what I'm watching? Whoa!
It opens up in their version of Charlottesville. And you're like, holy hell, what are we watching? And then it pans over to him, like, oh, thank God. I didn't accidentally download the wrong movie. But that's, his character. And then you have a really funny, their version of Donald Trump in this movie is played by Bob Odenkirk.
That'll work.
and he's really really good because he's Charlotte Field is his Secretary of State, and he's bringing her into the office to let her know, like, I'm not going to seek re-election. And he's like, I was like, really? What are you going to do? I'm going to be in movies.
Sounds.
And it's not. And she's like, that's going to be a tough transition. His mind is not even on from politics, the presidency, to movies. Like, oh, it's going to be tough making that leap from TV to movies.
Just skipping right over 1600.
doesn't even factor into decision at all.
Seriously.
Maybe that wasn't meant to be as funny as it was to me, but it gets brought up several times, and I laugh every time. It's like, if you guys have done it, George Clooney, Woody Harrelson. It's like, who else? It's going to be tough.
I'm going to be the third. I'm going to finish off the trifecta.
They kind of, I had a fun time with that joke, and I dug it a lot. And so we're friends from high school. The one goes off and follows her political ambitions. The other follows his broad journalistic stuff. And, you think, well, not only would these people never cross paths again, physically, this just, and they address that in the movie, and I think in a really smart way. So it's not, so it works, but they still, despite all that, make you believe that these two people dig each other, but like every romantic comedy, there has to be the breakup scene, and you have to get these two people together, and we've got to break them up. And for the most part, speaking of the movie I mentioned, I never liked the She's Out of My League breakup. It's like, that's it. That's the best you could do to come up with to drive a wedge between these people. Whatever. And that's not a dig at that movie. That's typically what, even going back to Romeo and Juliet, that's a pretty believable wedge that got drove. But that most of the time when it comes time to break up the two pretty people, I'm like, you tell me they couldn't, they're gonna get over it regardless, but you couldn't put a bigger roadblock, whatever. So the breakup is very, very believable. You're like, this could not work. This, if there was ever a politician at that level of considering a run for the presidency, and they start dating the person they recently hired to be a speechwriter, and the public caught wind of them getting it on, it would not work. And so it's worth a watch. It's worth checking out. And I had a ton of fun watching it. I think you'll really dig it if you could choose to watch it. And another thing that's kind of fun with this movie is you get to there's this one particular character that's been all throughout, and you get to the credits, and you're like, who? Did I go to sleep during part of this movie? Because the name pops up, Andy Serkis.
Oh, Lord.
And you're like, he is unrecognizable.
Oh, of course he is, because he's not CG'd this time.
But honest to God, he plays the kind of Roger Ailes creepy guy that's like, and would I probably, if you told me that they had dolled up makeup Harvey Firestein, I could have bought that.
Yeah.
But until I saw the name in the credits and had to Google it just to be sure that
that's the same guy.
Man, it's unrecognizable. in this movie, and there's a lot of good people in it. It's a good story, and I, I, very rarely does a Seth Rogen movie, very rarely does a Charlize Theron movie do you wrong. So when you get them two together, man, it's worth a watch. I just had a ton of. I just thought it was really funny and really believable, and that's if you can get those two things going for you, then I think it's you're gonna have yourself a good time.
It's a fascinating movie, and I haven't seen it yet. But the movie, it's very intriguing to me because like the commercials are like, yeah, okay, it's cool. Why not? Let's see what happens. It's cool. But the fallout, the far more important thing than that is that I have lots of people in my life that like movies, and the taste represented by the people in my life that like movies are as vast as imaginable. I think most of us are like that. But my point is that from all the different corners of my movie fans, that is one of the ones that is just universally recommended. People really dig that movie. It's a unique thing and it's a cool thing, and it's just good. It's weird. It's like on one level it's just incredibly likable. On another level, it's like super quality. So you just get this like double-barreled enjoyment, like cannon fire, if you will. But I think that's cool. It's like everybody that I know that's seen it is like, this is real good. You should check this out. And I'm like, well, that's just awesome, man. Because some of these folks, I didn't think they'd ever agree on a movie. So that's cool. That's quite cool.
Heck yeah. But that's just it's kind of it's anytime you get one of those fresh takes on like how many times have they done the odd couple romantic comedy, and you get when it's done and you buy it and you believe it, you're like, okay, I'm down, and I thought it was tons of fun to watch.
I can dig it. Even down to the casting. I think the casting being done correctly, because you absolutely have to get the knockout with the normal guy, and Seth Rogen can play normal guy. That's cool. And I know this, like, well, when are we going to get the boy version? We won't, because there aren't any normal human women anywhere in Hollywood. I wish there were, and maybe if one of them ever gets a job, then you can get the other side of that, because there's definitely a story to be told there. But it's like, nope, you have to hire human beings. You have to hire human women to be in movies first. There aren't many of those. Yeah. So, how about Merritt Weaver? Let's have Merritt Weaver in a role where Ryan Gosling is kind of gaga for her. Let's do it. That'd work. You could make the story, like you're saying, with this movie. You could make the story, and like a good story, something unique, something cool. But let's do it. If the world really wants pretty guy, normal girl, let's do it. And Merritt Weaver's hardly normal, but
she's probably Chris Hemsworth and Aidy Bryant.
Man, I get down with comedy. That. Yeah, man. I saw Aidy and oh shoot, I can't believe I forgot his darn name. Oh shucks, man. Oh, I'm terrible. I can't believe I forgot his name. His name was Ray. He played Ray on Girls, and I can't believe I forgot his real name. But Ray and Aidy Bryant wound up together, and that made me happy. And it was weird because it's like, man, it's out of nowhere. They tied that up so quickly, and it's like, have you watched the rest of this show? We've talked about it. My ultimate thing with Girls, even when it was on, excuse me, Girls to me felt like this is what TV looks like when a movie writer writes it. Because it just seemed like a lot of storylines were like, man, I'm bored with this, so they'd move right along. And if you're making a movie, that's cool, man. 90 minutes versus 10 hours is like, not 10 hours, it'd be 5. Because I think that, no, that show was an hour. I can't believe I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was one of the hour-long shows. Anyway, 90 minutes, yeah, you can focus. You can get that story told. I talk about it all the time, man. There's an episode of that show called One Man's Trash. And that is Lena Dunham as movie maker, which she's done movies. I mean, she's done like Tiny Furniture was cool. I liked it. But One Man's Trash is fantastic. Now, I think it's the Panic in Central Park is widely considered the best episode of that show ever. But it didn't do it for me. Basically, the Panic in Central Park is basically One Man's Trash. But Marnie's the star, and I'm not an Allison Williams fan. I'm not a Marnie fan. I thought it's fascinating because I talked to people that watched the last episode and they were so mad that it was just Hannah and Marnie. And I'm like, that's what it has to be, because you open the episode with Marnie being like, they're gone. I'm still here. I'm the best friend. I win. And I'm like, that's Marnie Michaels right there. It's like, yes, you won. It's a contest. You won. There are so many, there's a lot of commentary and a lot of jokes in that show that people missed, because Lena Dunham has some really unsavory character traits, using the N-word to shock people being chief among them, and being a massive advocate for #BelieveWomen right up until one of them says something about a guy that you like, and then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Well,
yeah, there's a lot of stuff about her that is unsavory and unlikable, but it's personal stuff. As far as work is concerned, though, hey man, she's good at that. She knew it. She's good, and her movies are good. But One Man's Trash was it was just a one-off episode that kind of plays like, is this real? Is this happening? Is this a daydream? Is it a fantasy? Is it just like it was great. That's my favorite episode of that show ever. It's weird. I was actually just looking at my stuff. They're right here actually. The first 4 seasons of Girls are right there behind me, and I said the first 4 because I never bought the last 2 like an idiot, because apparently the first wave of DVD for season 6, that's all they're doing. So they're expensive as hell now, and I'm never going to finish that series, but I'm either going to move them along for change on eBay, or I might hold on to One Man's Trash, because god dang, I love that episode. I'd watch that again. Anyway, I got sidetracked.
We'll re-release them. It'll come with a free month subscription to Max or HBO Max, whatever it's called.
Probably so. That's what I'm thinking, is they'll do the box set. And speaking of box sets, man, that's transition. But I got a movie review too, so I don't want to transition away. Let me not do a review. Let me just mention something. I went to my buddy Danielle's house this past week. I was going to say weekend, but it was midweek. And there is a movie. It's anime. It's on Netflix, and it's called A Whisker Away. And it's fantastic. It's an anime about this teenager, this schoolgirl, that turns into a cat. Basically, she makes a deal with, it's this kind of, he made me think of Radish Spirit from Spirited Away. He's not nearly as nice as Radish Spirit, but just this like oversized kind of character. And she just refers to him as Mask Seller. He shows up on, I think he was on a bridge. He just popped up in a park somewhere, and he sells her this little porcelain cat mask. And when she puts it on, she turns into this little white kitty cat and runs around town and does cat things. And the cat things that she does is, as a stray, she goes to like the guy that she's got a huge crush on, and it's just weird. It's like he likes the cat and plays with her and takes care of her. So it's like, cool, this is how we can spend time together. And it was excellent, man. They did such a good job with it, and I won't go like full whole hog. I don't want to ruin anything, but they're just my favorite parts of it were they did a really good job with the lead character when she's not the kitty cat, and before anything like that starts happening. It was just a really interesting presentation of a lead character. And then when they get to the point in the story where they explain why she is the way she is, it's like emotional thematic stuff that we do not talk about here. It's one of the neatest things about watching movies and TV shows and anything from other countries is, man, we're all people, but dude, cultures, when it comes to the things that you talk about, the things that you'll make art about, it's different. It's just completely different. And in this case, again, it's just themes. It's just, they're just certain. There are two things that they address in the movie that we do not talk about here. So it was fascinating to see, first of all, anybody talk about it, and secondly, how well they do it. Like, man, this is cool. It's cool. The two things that jumped out to me, well, there's actually 3. There's 3. One is the quirky girl that's our lead character and why she's actually like that. 2 is her friend, who is like the Darlene Connor, typical teenager, calm down, you're being ridiculous. And the reason that, at least in how she interacts with her friend, the reason that she is like that, I don't want to ruin it and go into or what I thought they were trying to get across, but what I got out of it was fascinating. And then the third thing is, and this is going to be really undercooked, but I'll ruin it if I don't. Our lead character lives with her dad and her stepmom. And her stepmom has this little house cat, little green-eyed house cat. And that story, the house cat from the story of the house cat is, dude, it was a cool movie, A Whisker Away, and it's on Netflix, and it's one of their, excuse me, they have certain anime movies that are Netflix original, and I think what that means is I believe that basically it's a Sony Picture Classic kind of thing. I don't think that they like hire people to do stories for them. It's when they find them, it's like bam, put this stamp on it, and we'll run it forever. But that's
Wu-Tang
the point.
Presents.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point, is that with it being a Netflix original anime, it'll be on there forever. So no hurry, no rush. Just if you want to watch a really good story, man, that one was fantastic. I loved it. That was, and we watched other stuff, and geez, I can't believe I forgot the name of the other one, man. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't nearly as good as that. Whisker Away was the one that I should talk about, because it was good.
Cool. Man, did you have any? Did you watch the Fyter Fest? This went down.
I very happily did watch Fyter Fest.
Cool.
I had a blast. I enjoyed it. I knew, I was telling you earlier, and now I'll tell the good people now, I mention it again. I knew that I was really lucky. I got very, very lucky that they decided to have the tag team titles headline night one for Fyter Fest, because I really wanted to see. If Kenny and Hangman are on, I want to watch them. And if it's Trent and Chucky, they're wrestling, I'm cool. I'm very cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be difficult for me to pick anything over Adam Cole and Keith Lee. So I'm glad I didn't have to. I just got real lucky with the way they scheduled these things. So now I can watch on night one. I got to watch the one I really wanted to. And on night two, I'll get to watch the one I really want to. But I thought Fyter Fest was great. I enjoyed the crap out of it, man. Particularly, I should have written the matches down, because I'm trying to think about which ones just really did it for me. Pardon me. But you know what I was there. Jeez, I'm sorry, guys. Obviously, I'm drinking that too fast. Obviously, I was there for the tag title match. That's what I was looking forward to, and and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, man. And we talked about it earlier, man. The having a.
Now, I was convinced that it was going to go one way and it went the other after the entrance. I was like, oh man.
I'm not sure. It's one of the things that I really like about AEW, is AEW really seems good with a slow burn. It seems to me that there are about 4 or 5 potential storylines that could then turn into 3 or 4 potential storylines. I like it. I like what they're doing. I like the time they're taking. And we've talked about it where, excuse me, I know we've talked to death about Jungle Boy and MJF. And I liked that match. I didn't necessarily agree with. I thought that MJF and I thought that Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus should have won, but I thought that Lucha Boy should have quadded MJF and got the pinfall over him. Then he gets the singles match, and MJF mercilessly beats the crap out of it. That's what I thought. That's what I wish they would have done. And they can still do it. It's just like I don't know. That's what I was hoping they were going to do with that one. But at the same time, hey man, long-term stuff, and that's the deal, is they can make long-term plans. We talked about it. It's the one massive advantage that AEW has over NXT, is that NXT can't long-term, but they try. They do a good job with the ideas. But anytime you want to come in and yank somebody, they're gone. And it's like, that sucks. And AEW doesn't have to worry about that. It's just one of the huge advantages they have.
Don't get too fond of these people.
And it sucks, man, but at the same time, I think the prime long-term booking in NXT is about to come to a head next week, and it's good. Hey, man, Adam's had that belt for a long time, man. And the notion of, I was thinking they would get the North America off of Keith, and then Keith would go on the rampage for the world title. But this is even better. This is even better, because apparently I was assuming that it was to give Adam Cole a call-up, and it still might be, but apparently all that contract talk is real, and his contract is running out. So it's like, well, you got to get the belt off of him before that contract runs out, and then we'll negotiate and see what happens. You know me, I hope the call-up's not true. I don't. Adam on the main roster will be wasted, just because
it's never worked out for anybody.
It hasn't. It's bizarre, but it's like, nah, man, the established people on the main roster are still established.
we're trying to get back established ones that have left. Like, what could we get Brock to come back?
I don't know what in the world is up with Vince's obsession with Brock fucking Lesnar, man. I don't get it. On one degree, in one level, I do get it because it's like you and I've talked about forever. I'm happy to say this is still our exclusive property. Nobody else talks about this, so good for us. Or maybe we're wrong. But now you and I've been saying for years that the Undertaker Brock Lesnar thing never should have ended the streak. Never should have ended the streak. Brock Lesnar's why you got that Fox deal. Mm-hmm. The crossover media that you got for ending the streak is what had got that snowball rolling down the hill, and then it turned into an avalanche. It was the best decision they've made in a long time. So stop pissing and moaning and whining and crying about the streak. Oh my God, my childhood. Stop it. It worked. Yeah. I don't like it either. But hey, it's really easy not to watch WWE. I haven't done it for a long time. Make you feel better. But at the same time, all I ever hear about is business. Oh, it's just business. Vince is so good at business. And the best business move he's made in, God, probably since the first WrestleMania, and really ever, to be honest, was breaking up the streak, because that's what led to the Fox deal, and the Fox deal equals more money than they have ever seen before. So I guess he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And by he, I mean Mark Calloway, because you'll never convince me that wasn't his idea.
Yeah. It's one of those deals where it's like any call up, I'm just over the excitement of it, because I'm been burned too many times. Or anytime there's rumor that it's going to happen or it does happen, it's like, I can't get excited for you anymore. I just don't think it's going to go well.
I always get more bummed by the call-ups because, again, it means that whatever was being booked at NXT is now messed up, and I just like that show. I understand the call-up because the pay scale, the pay scale's not the same, so it's like that sucks. And that's, again, back to the AEW versus main roster or AEW versus NXT. Even as the NXT champ, I guarantee you AEW is going to offer Adam Cole more money. Yeah. It's either get called up or go to AEW, and I hate both those options, honestly. I wish what they would do is give him main roster money to stay at NXT. That's what I wish they would do, because I love him there. I love him on that roster. I love the Undisputed Era on that roster. And it's not like, I don't know, it's something we've talked about. If you're hiring Adam Cole to come to AEW and you are not throwing the keys to the kingdom at him, I just think it's a mistake. It's the same. I think Adam going to either AEW or WWE is why I don't like either one, because I'm like, I just don't see you guys making him the main guy. And he should be the main guy. Wherever he's at, he should be the dude. So I'm like, man, I just kind of hate this all around. I get it. I mean, I know his wife is there. I think they're married. Shoot, I don't know. But his lady.
I know they're together. I don't know if they're married or not.
His mixed tag partner is there. So I understand. And all his buddies are there too. So I get that. But that's something that, I guess selfishly, if Adam Cole goes to AEW, I will I can't think of the word I'm looking for. I'll make myself feel better by believing anyway that increases the odds that Kevin Steen will follow very shortly, because that's my number one guy. I've said it forever. I'll stand by it. That's my number one guy, especially if Generico will come with him, because it's not like I know I make everybody a tag team, but Steen should come over to be a solo star. I believe that. But, man, if you got them both and you want to do them tag as every now and again, that's not a problem either. That's not a problem either. That'd be great, man. But if you could actually bring in El Generico and then go back on the Dark Order, the reason they wear mask stuff, it's just – there's so many cool places you could take that. If you get El Generico and then you can pretend that Excalibur's always been on it, which is funny. Apparently Taz made a knock on the last Dark about how, man, when you come out here with your mask on, man, will you recruiting for the Dark Order? And I'm like, I hope this is the direction they go. That would be so awesome.
Sow that seed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's so cool about it is, like we talked about, man, you can do this. Like the whole thing with Matt Hardy and Private Party. Okay, I think that the second any of us saw Matt Hardy hanging out with Private Party, I know that I did, and I'm pretty sure most of us immediately thought, oh man, Matt and Jeff versus Private Party, let's do it. And I think we were supposed to think that. But the hugest and bestest upside of it, is if they can pull it off, that's fantastic. And if not, what's the harm in planting that seed? It's cool. It's cool, man. They're very good at that stuff. Like, well, Vince doesn't like to promote matches he's not going to book, and it's like AEW will do it 14 times a week, man. Like, yeah, we might get that guy, hey, we'll see. What about that guy? And it's like, dude, whether we get you or not, so what?
I think that's one of the, regardless of what they decide to do, whether it's Adam Cole call up or going to AEW, I think it's not just it ruins the whole Undisputed Era. Is I think my biggest issue with it. It's like, man, there's if he gets called up and they all go with him, it's going to be bad for all of them. If he leaves and they stay, then they're going to lose interest.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
So
as good as Roddy is, which again, man, like we were talking about Booker's consummate pro line about Bailey, which I don't want to leave that hanging. We'll come back to that in a second. But that's Roddy, man. Roderick Strong is so good at his job. Guys like that never get a break in WWE. He never will. And as far as Fish and O'Reilly, man, Kyle O'Reilly doesn't have a prayer because people think Nakamura hits hard. Kyle O'Reilly didn't have a prayer. And as far as them being a tag team, we've already discussed it. Vince hates tag teams. He doesn't care. So it's like, they got nothing to do. But that's my whole thing is like, Adam's contract is up. Adam's contract is going to run out. It's almost over. Okay, what about those other three guys? Because if you lose all four of them, God help you. Because if the Undisputed Era wants to change their name and show up in Jacksonville, I'm pretty sure I'd be okay with that. That'd be just hunky-dory fine. Yeah. And then it's interesting, too, because it allows you to enter a holding pattern where if you want to do the Elite, which is down to 4 guys now, right in time, because Adam Page rode off and
we're now the Disputed Ezra.
Dude, seriously, man, let's do it. Well, the thing also about that, this is the upside of Vince, like, oh, copyright, Undisputed Era, copyright. Fish and O'Reilly can go back to being Red Dragon tomorrow. Cool, no problem. That's cool. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's a good thing that guys get to keep their names now because that's like, I can guarantee you Vince McMahon doesn't own Adam Cole, baby. I guarantee you he didn't get copyrights on that because Cole's too smart for that. He was using it before. He'll take it with him. But they go back to Red Dragon. That's all I ever call them anyway, just to distinguish. Because I hate to call them Undisputed Era because then it's like, well, which guys do you mean? It's like, that doesn't mean Fish and O'Reilly. You got to break it down. But they all want to go.
That rotating third or fourth.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, it's the reason it frustrates me so bad is I don't necessarily want. I wish that what they would get is main roster money to stay at NXT because I love them at NXT. And it's just more of the same where if you're bringing Adam to AEW to not rule AEW, you're making a mistake. As far as Red Dragon is concerned, dude, it's exactly what we talked about last week with whatever tag team you bring in next. Where the hell do they slide in? That tag division is already, like, it's fat. They've got lots of good guys, man. So it's like you can't bring Red Dragon in there and not have them be serious players also. It's like, seriously, so it's like, man, I wish the pay scale in NXT would ratchet up, start paying them like they're guys that perform on Monday nights on USA because they do perform on Wednesday nights on USA.
Yeah. So you said there was some comment about Bailey.
Oh man, yeah, thank you, man. Booker T was talking about the Bailey and Sasha tag team. He was basically talking about the Sasha Io match and how good it was, and boy, he wasn't wrong. That was just slamming good. And Booker doing the Booker thing, and really just doing the fan thing where he's talking about the tag teams. The thing to appreciate about the tag team of Bailey and Sasha is that Sasha Banks is all the sizzle in the world, great performer, great wrestler, good move set, great bump sets. Everything about her is really, really fantastic. And you pair that with Bayley, and what he was talking, he says Bayley is the consummate worker. It's like, maybe she's not great at anything, but she's real good at everything. And people like gave him hell for that, and I was like, I just don't understand. That's the dumbest thing ever. It's like, I guess it's my thing. If you're telling me that I can hit 40 home runs a year, but I'm gonna strike out 250 times, and I'm gonna hit 230, and maybe I drive in 100 runs, maybe I drive in 99, maybe I drive in 120.
So be it.
I can do that, or I can hit 325. I can drive in 95 runs every year. I can score 100 runs a year, and maybe I hit 17 home runs. I'm going to be that second guy. That's who I'm going to be. But it's even better. It's even better. If I hit 285, 14 home runs, drive in 85 runs, score 90 runs, and have a fielding percentage of 990 whatever. That's Bayley. That's what he's talking about, is somebody that's good at everything. And people like blasted him for insulting her, and it's like, that is not an insult. That is as good a thing. That's awesome. That's a fantastic compliment. I thought, and that's how I believed to my core, because I ain't Booker T, so I can't say 100%, but I believe 1,000% that's how he meant it. I know that's how I took it, and people are just ridiculous, man.
That's any excuse to get butthurt about.
Yep. Because people want to borrow your fame to get their tweet seen. That's what they do. And Twitter is the most pathetic thing on this planet. It is so sad. Do we really think that many people are actually upset about anything? No, of course not. Because if people were actually upset about anything, shit would change.
You probably do something about it.
Things would change. Exactly. It's all like, look, man, the best thing you can do if you're really pissed about something is stop spending your damn money on it. I guarantee you companies will change then. For example, what's up with Chick-fil-A's CEO? Because Chick-fil-A has gotten nothing but crap over and over again for their political stances, and now all of a sudden they're BLM positive. Like, good for y'all. But that tells you, it just tells you, man, that to me what that says is, thank God, hallelujah, Jesus, finally there's enough people in the country to where corporations are feeling it, because that's all that matters. You got to contact your local congressman. No, you don't. Congress doesn't give a shit about any of us, man. Your local representatives don't give a shit. The only person that cares about what you do politically is your local CEO. That's it. You start hitting corporations right in the frickin' pocket ball bag, that's when shit changes. So I'm very happy to have all these CEOs 2 weeks after we're all in this together, COVID. 2 weeks after that, now all of a sudden it's like hashtag BLM guys, and it's like, yeah, I always have. Some of us have known that, and glad to hear from you. And that's the whole point. Is like your opinion. Your opinion doesn't mean crap because everyone knows you're full of shit. But at least you're scared enough about your bottom line to where you're coming out now and telling everybody which way the wind is blowing. That makes me very happy.
Mm-hmm.
There was something else. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. There was something else I was supposed to talk about. I'm sorry. I was going to talk. It's supposed to. I'm sorry, man. I don't remember what the heck it was. Anyway, Fyter Fest was awesome. And what I watched of Great American Bash, I haven't finished it yet. But what I watched, I enjoyed, especially Sasha and Io. Man, that was slamming. Oh, yeah. And also, like we were saying, man, a sad day. I've reached the finish line with Corny and Last. I won't go into why. I won't go into why. But what I will say, the very positive thing was their reaction to, for Pete's sake, Thatcher and Oni Lorcan. And because they really liked it, and so I'm like, okay. So when I was watching the tape, I paid particular attention to that match, and I absolutely couldn't agree with them more. It was awesome, and I like Oni Lorcan anyway, man. I just think he's cool. Thatcher I haven't seen much of, but that match was cool. I really enjoyed that.
It was real good. You had the women's 4-way. I'm pretty sure that was next, and then the strap match, and then Sasha and Io to finish it off. It was a dang good show. I had a
Okay, all right. So if that's the show I have seen, well, I shouldn't say I've seen everything. I fast forwarded the odd numbers and I watched the even numbers. That's what
yeah,
wound up happening.
yeah, man. So that's
Yeah,
so you've seen enough of it to
yeah.
check it out. Yeah,
I feel bad to zip through the strap match, but I don't mean to be a jerk. But and I love Roddy, like we were just talking about. But boy, Dexter Loomis just doesn't do anything for me. I love his Stranger Things rip off entrance music, but that's about
yeah,
it. That's
yeah.
about it. After that, I'm done, man.
That's I haven't dug him as much as some people I hear have. So I was like, okay,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should watch more. But oh man, I got an update,
what's
an
that?
AEW related update. I finally, it's been a long time, long enough to where I got rid of my. I had a second Instagram account at one time for nothing but creator wrestlers on Fire Pro, and
Mm-mm.
I really should start that back up again because I've started putting more people on there. But I finally, in the AEW division, I finally put Dustin Rhodes on there, and today I did Dustin Rhodes. I did Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. And the main point with putting those guys on there, because all I did was I had two versions of the Revival anyway. So I just took one of them and changed the names and put them where they need to be. But the whole point, honestly, was to try and remember whose name is what. It was like, okay,
Oh
if
yeah,
I see it in print, this will be okay. But
I just got down Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder.
Dash Wilder, seriously, man. So Dash is Cash, and the easiest way to remember it is now I've seen it in print, man. Wheeler is his actual last name, so I'm like, okay, I can remember this. I can
Yeah,
remember this.
okay.
But so it's Cash, the guy. Okay, it rhymes with his old name. It is his real last name, and now his tag partner is full on Boogie Nights porn character name because
Yeah,
it sounds like this. Well, but Chester Desmond,
yeah,
Chest Rock. No, it's oh man, what the heck were their names? I remember Chest Rockwell. Brock Landers, Chest
yeah,
Rockwell, and Dax Harwood. They totally sound like a six-man tag team. So like, yeah, that's
yeah,
good, man.
yeah.
They could be a faction called How Much You Squat. That'd be great. But anyway,
Do you like
my
the
other
double
two guys.
trees?
My other two guys that I finally put on Fire Pro, and it's only appearances. I don't have the move sets yet, but I did Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, and I'm very happy to
Ooh,
have Private
cool.
Party on there because I love me some Private Party, man. Those guys are they're I love those guys. So it's like, yeah, you got to do it. You got to get them on there, man. You got to do it. So and Mark Quinn especially because he's an interesting looking guy. It's not really possible to do the two mohawks, and I can't do the tails, so I can't make him exact. But it gives you the opportunity to kind of, if you write a poem that's a page long, and then you take each paragraph from that poem and try to distill it down to a haiku, sometimes magic things happen, and that happens on Fire Pro, man. It's like it's so
Mhm.
limited what you can do that sometimes the creativity that's called upon, you get cool stuff. Not always, but sometimes you do. I love that stupid game. God dang it. I've been playing it forever. And even with the PS4 version, I'm like, I don't care. I like this one better. I put way too much time in on that one to go like, oh, I got to do the PS4 one because it's actually New Japan. I've got New Japan. I got everybody on that game. I made them all.
That'll probably be a PS5 out before long.
It's on its way as far as I know. I'm like, nah,
Okay.
y'all can keep it. I'm good. As long as I got Blu-ray player and a functional PlayStation 2, where someone's always going to keep one running. That's like I'll find one.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And that's
Pass
dumb,
on
but
that noise.
dude, PlayStation 2 is the high water mark for me, man. I got
Mhm.
Winning 11, I can play forever. I got Fire Pro, I can play forever. I'm set. I'm
Yeah.
good, man. Also, um, oh shoot, I guess it's with being an EA Sports guy because I know we're EA Sports guys. EA
Mhm.
Sports absolutely 1000% peaked, in my opinion, in like 2007. You get the
Yeah.
PS2 stuff, anything from '04 to '08, they're so good. I love them, man.
Yeah.
And I do have a FIFA for the PS3 that I play an awful lot. And the reason I play it so much is from 2017. It's the last PlayStation 3 FIFA they did was 2017. But the creative player mode on there is pretty good. And they look just like the other guys, so I'm all right with it. So I'm constantly updating that. Like, okay, who do I need to make today? But I can't not play that because you can do current Manchester United on there, and I love them as they're my guys. Man United has finally entered a realm to where they are so human and they don't run the world and people make fun of us now and all that good stuff, that they are finally one of my teams, because my team struggled. I'm a Georgia Tech guy. I'm an Atlanta Braves guy. I got very lucky, which Tech has always struggled, honestly. They've had a couple of really good years, but for the most part, anything over 8 wins for Georgia Tech is really exceptional. And that's okay because I love them, so that's cool. The Braves have been really good most of our lives, but we got into them in 87, 88, 89. Any of those points when they were the god-awful scourge of baseball, oh, boy, it made 1991 sweet. And
Yep.
that's still my benchmark. So Man United have absolutely run the Premier League for many years. And then they fell off, then they came back. Excuse me. And now there's a new pecking order. But I love them even more now, man, because I can watch them struggle and I can pull for them.
Mm-hmm.
These fellas, I hope no United fans are watching because they'll get mad when I say this, but it's the fact of the matter. This team right here, we ain't never struggled at all. We've been really good the whole time we have existed. So the next time, or the next time, which will be the first time, Atlanta United has a bad season, that's when I will fully wrap my arms around them and embrace them as one of my own, because all my teams stink. And it's like, oh, man, that's love, baby.
Now you're mine.
Seriously, it's like, yes, this is what love is. And watch them rebuild.
That's what's up. Before this battery starts going dead again.
Exactly. So, I appreciate the call. Thank you, my man. Y'all take it easy. Have a good one and enjoy Whiskers Apart. If you watch it, enjoy it. It's great.
Heck yeah, man. All right. Bye.